Welcome to a special episode of Divergent Mind. I have a friend named M on the line, and he's going to tell us about whatever he wants, starting now. Take it away.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Jay. Yes, as you said, I am M, currently working at our local large airport, moving holiday packages around, or at least we did, on a daily basis. It's been pretty interesting. So, would you like to know more about that?
Sure. I love to know about the shipping process.
You know, that's honestly when I ended up getting the job, actually getting involved into the logistics of moving Amazon packages around. It was an insight to just see how much blood, sweat, and toil goes into moving that little package about, and that how disruptive Amazon really has been to the shipping industry. But from my perspective, I currently load and unload the variety of planes that come into, major international airports for a few hours a day. But, that increased amount of package load that Amazon has given to us, it gives you a sense of urgency to have to try to move quickly to unload that plane, upload it, just to make sure that it gets there to you. If you ever notice, for one instance, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, Ontario to your local regional major airport, that is more than likely shipped on an airplane, of course, and handled by myself. This last holiday season, Jay, I bet you probably purchased a lot of things online like the most of the Americans had done this last season. Is that right?
I bought a couple things. I bought a anniversary gift for Netios, which I had custom made, which she doesn't know about yet, and she'll find out in about 2 weeks. And I also bought some headphones because I always need them when I leave the house, and I keep breaking them. So I got some Qualcomm Faux Show headphones that last 8 hours and have a battery life charger of 157 hours, so I'm pretty much covered for the day or the week. And then I went kind of ham all over the radio gear because I couldn't stop finding deals on Behringer stuff. And I'm like, okay, I want a Behringer setup to start with, starting with a Euphoria UMC 404 HD, which came with about $50 worth of cables for $1. I'm like, okay, that's a great deal. A MISO jack connector so I can connect regular headphones in. A Behringer set of headphones for like $12, which was just a great deal. And then some Behringer 1800 XMs, which I got recommended from the podcasting community on Reddit, because you might as well get the same gear set up so that they all work together flawlessly. And I wanted to see if it worked with an iPad with a base US dongle, and it works flawlessly with GarageBand. So I am absolutely happy. It's portable, it's lightweight, and with the addition of a small powered amp for headphones, everyone will be able to control their volume for different levels. And that's going to come today, and I'm looking forward to playing with that and seeing how that works out.
I never have heard of this Behringer company before, but then again, I haven't really been in the podcasting community for well over 14 years. So this is a really good quality sound coming from these mics. This company are they new?
I don't know if they're new, but they're excellent for their price value. I wish they would sponsor me because I would love to sell their gear. I really would, because I have their affiliate links on my website, and I honestly wish asimovcomic.com and check out the affiliate links and buy them through there, because you'll get a great deal. You get the same set that I got with all the cables. You'll get the microphones. You'll get the pop filters. I mean, I think I spent less than $300 and got everything I needed to get started.
Yeah, this is a good setup for a beginner setup here. So I noticed you mentioned that you ended up purchasing your anniversary gift here. We had to delay this recording out a little bit so she doesn't know.
Well, as long as we don't say what it is.
I'm so curious.
I can tell you off the air. That's fine.
But that's nice. The one surprising fact I've noticed, just reading about how UPS, FedEx, and Amazon actually performed this year, they moved 2.8 billion packages in less than the span of a month, and I definitely did feel that when I was out there working those 12-hour days, just the stress of trying to
Trips. Okay, the last trip I took was to Cali on a train with my brother to see my mother before she left the country for the last time. She has stage 4 COPD. She's okay now, but she wasn't doing too well when we saw her last. She's not got a whole lot of breath left in her.
No, I don't know if I ever told you that is the same thing that ended up taking my grandfather a decade ago, and it's a tough disease. It seems to come on out of nowhere.
Well, I think the smoking and the drinking doesn't help.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
But on the lighter note of all, how was the train trip? You left. Your brother came up here. Was that right?
He did, because I needed a chaperone to help me get down there. Because if I'd taken an airplane, I would have gotten sick for a few weeks. And my family, I don't think, realizes how easily I get ill. Mm-hmm. Just how bad it gets, which is why I'm such a homebody. I think they got a better idea of it while I was there. Mm. But still, it's just schizophrenia and schizoaffective disorder is just such a hard thing to describe to someone else and be like, hey, look, reality doesn't line up for me. Let me just figure that out for a second and then tell you about it. And they're like, oh, you're nuts. And I'm like, yeah, I am.
That's really harsh now. You know, we know a better idea of exactly what it is and are getting better every day to treat it. You've come, leaps and bounds from when you were first really diagnosed with it too. So it was interesting when you told me that you ended up taking the train, because that was a way for you to, of course, get to your final destination. But it just seems to be that, well, I guess I'm kind of curious. Was it that it's tranquil or just a bit slow pace for you to feel set and comfortable?
Okay, well, basically, we had a sleeper room, which is like the special room with beds. So we didn't have seats in a crowded area. Mm-hmm. So we shared our bunks, and we tried to go eat in the dining car, and I got sick, so I couldn't do that again. So we asked for room service. So we got room service for the rest of for the train.
I never knew you could get room service on a train.
Oh, it's lovely. And if you buy a sleeper cart, you get these amazing meals. Like we had like steak with cheesecake and hamburgers, Angus hamburgers with bacon, and pancakes with syrup. The meals were excellent. And that's Amtrak going down the coast.
Our coastline. So we left, you left P.
Yeah. Well, I left V because P was a little hard to get to, and then ended up in E in the middle of C. It's so weird not using the full lettering, but it doesn't matter.
Now, to fill me in, that we are doing that because
it's just to keep a little bit of anonymity to the area, and so people can't really find me unless they really want to.
Oh.
Just because I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, and it's like, okay, I don't want people randomly showing up at the door, knocking on the door, saying, "Hey, we like your podcast. Can you sign this stuff, or can we come in and be on the podcast?"
Oh, that would be a shock.
It would freak me out, and it's like I know I'm a small fry, but maybe one day I'll be worthwhile, Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
there was I've always actually wanted to take a train journey as well. Recently, I watched that there was a Netflix documentary about train travel across Australia, and it impressed upon me not only the length of these trains and how much tonnage they have to haul via, their own power, but when you mentioned the good food right there, the amount of food that they have to carry for a train travel, because your trip was it over the course of a couple days?
18 hours.
Oh wow, that was actually again impressive time.
Yeah, and it had showers and changing rooms, and like as long as you didn't mind it, it was pretty good.
So being in there, did it feel the rocking motion, did that soothe you?
Yeah, if you've ever been on a boat and you fall asleep to the waves rocking against the side of the boat, it's the same exact feeling, except for the occasional blaring of a horn as the train goes. "Rah." But other than that, it's pretty wicked.
Were you close to the train, the locomotive?
Yeah, we had to stop a few times as other trains passed, and they had to stop a few times as we passed, and we got to go through the mountains with some snow and through some cities that just like looked decrepit and just a mess. It's kind of sad, really.
The leftover remnants of train transportation.
Yeah, but I mean the stations are cute. They're very quaint and just sort of old timey in that they're all wood and they have wood pews and there's a nice little counter and there's a little vending machine and it's kind of old school, but it's very nice. There's even payphones.
Wow, that's to find a payphone in this modern day and age, let alone in a train station. Maybe they just ran forgetting about it. But did it feel like that? Is it that time kind of stops in essence? Being a modern age. Did you get that feeling?
Yes, it did. Okay. Shall we move on to the next topic? Is there anything else?
Do you want to talk about these experiences international?
International experiences? Well, do you want to talk about the good, the bad, or...
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. Well, okay. So the last trip I took internationally was going back home with my fiance 5 years ago. And I had been diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. So I took these pills called troches, which are CBD based, and I got in a lot of trouble.
Oh, what kind of trouble? Just the fact that you were trying to carry them internationally?
Just because I came into the country with them, and even with a prescription, which I brought out with me, I got strip searched, and got a misdemeanor.
A misdemeanor in the country.
In the country
already, you took one step forward.
and they say, well, everyone gets a freebie, and I'm like, but I don't want the freebie. I mean, these are medical pills. Mm-hmm. I wasn't trying to sell them or anything. I have 10 pills to last me 30 days.
That's the interesting thing coming from a country that is, in essence, seems to struggle with the identity that a Schedule 1 narcotic could actually be beneficial to people. I understand that our neighbors to the north, they figured out to make it legal and not have any problems. But that was true that when you went there, you experienced that. I knew going into my trip in Japan that it was, you do not ever bring that in. I doubt that if I was to do something like that, I would walk out without. Actually, I don't know if I'd be talking to you right now if I was to ever do that. They're so serious about that there.
Yeah, I was being stupid. I was high a lot of the time because I was just kind of depressed about being sick all the time and getting weak and needing a cane and getting very fat.
Did the CBD though help at any point?
Oh yeah. I mean, okay, so I think I've told you this, but I had a story where I fell down the stairs and I twisted my spine permanently. Mm-hmm. And after a while, I needed a cane because I just couldn't carry myself around. Mm-hmm. And I got sick of that. So I stretched out on a metal futon, thinking that maybe I had a compacted disc or two. Mm-hmm. and I grabbed each side of the futon, one between my legs, one between my hands, and I pulled until I felt a snap, and then I blacked out.
Wow,
And
that's
then
impressive.
it hurt so bad. I blacked out so far. Um, the only other time I blacked out is when they were resetting my wrist after a fight. That sucked because resetting bones hurts like a mother.
I've been lucky to never have gotten into a fight or injured myself. To be honest, that to me feels as if you've lived a bit of a life right there. Gone through the scrapes and bruises of activities. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit boring in that regard.
Well, I don't know. I've had a very abusive lifestyle, to be honest, compared to most people, as far as I understand it. It doesn't matter. I don't really want to talk about it on the air because it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm in therapy. I've dealt with it. I'm good to go. I'm not suicidal. I'm just sick in the head. But anyway, so we go home. We have this amazing month-long car ride going all over the nation, taking all these photos, sailing around on the family boat, which my brother has looked after meticulously for, I think, decades at this point. And he let me even sail it and guide it, which was so much fun. And yeah, it was great. We even went mussling, where we all went mussling and made fresh mussel fritters.
Oh, that sounds so delicious.
Oh, so good. So good. And Nedios took an amazing photo of the process, which is hanging on my wall in the hallway.
The process of muscling off of a boat?
Well, the mussels in the sink of the boat after collecting them.
How do you collect them?
With a screwdriver.
So you were on the mussels. The mussels are on the
rock faces.
On the rock faces, okay.
Yeah,
so
we tried to take
not like a drag net.
No. Because they have psyllium, which is like a glue, so they stick to whatever they're attached to. Yeah, so we tried to go the long way around the tide pools, and we got stuck. And my brother S is like, "Why didn't you come help me?" It's like, we got stuck. So he pulled out like 150 mussels, I think, enough for all of us, and just started shucking them. And it's like, damn, dude, you're so good at that. Because he's an ex-sailor.
So he's made his career out of being on the water.
Yeah, and he's made his career painting super yachts by hand.
Oh wow!
And he's
by hand.
By hand, and he's amazing at it. I've never seen someone paint that well, that long, for such a large object, and then look at it and get it absolutely stunningly perfect. It's one of the inspirations for my drawing. Is like, it's looking up to my older brothers, is like, because they're both artists.
I've never known that. That's a good homage.
Yeah.
Has he? Does he feel honored that you've tried to?
I don't know. We don't talk. It's hard to get a hold of them. Mm-hmm. One is on Facebook. The other one doesn't use Facebook. But we don't talk because my family tends to just argue for some reason. It's silly.
Yeah, that's. Sometimes I'm jealous of everyone who does have a family. Having been an only child, you learn to treasure friendships and whatnot over family relations, but you still wish you had those connections to a family member, regardless of it good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and if your family life is complete garbage and you find out later on that it's like, oh, that's not normal, and it's like getting hurt a lot is not normal and all that crap. I mean, there's so much stuff that therapy brought up. It's like, oh, that's not normal. I don't know. But friendships are extremely useful. Just because you need the kinship of something, or else you just end up being a loner. Being a loner is fine, but it does get lonely. I mean,
that's entirely true. I know some people who they say they cherish, being alone, but I do still see that in essence, they want social interaction, even if they seem to push against it. I almost don't know if that's almost a kind of mental disorder in its own right.
Oh, like BPD or something, like
What's that?
borderline personality disorder. Where
Oh, really?
I may have this incorrectly diagnosed because I haven't read the DSM-V in quite a while, but it's where you are unable to form proper relationships due to a predetermined mental state where you just cannot form them correctly. You either take advantage or you are taking advantage of. It depends. It's either very manipulative or it's being manipulated easily. I just can't remember which.
That's interesting.
Okay, I think we're going to call it good for today. We're going to go through and edit this and see how well it comes out. Thanks so much for coming through, Em. Pleasure to have you, and hopefully you'll come back and we'll have another one of these discussions once we pick it up.
Well, that would be wonderful.
All right, everybody, have a lovely day. Jay.